My ex's mother called me years after the breakup, and I told her some truths. About a month ago, my ex-mother-in-law reached out to me asking if we could talk. We'd always had a decent relationship. She used to treat me almost like a daughter. She was warm, kind, and understanding toward me, but when it came to her son, she was incredibly lenient. She spoiled him to a ridiculous degree, not literally, but you get the idea. Still, I said okay, and we spoke on the phone. She started off by telling me about how her husband, my ex's dad, is going broke, how hard things have gotten financially, and then transitioned into talking about my ex's love life. Apparently, he had a brief relationship recently that didn't last long, and before that, a marriage that ended after only a year. Then she got to the point. She wanted me to give a character reference for him. His most recent ex-wife is suing him for sexual assault. She's autistic, but his mom didn't go into detail and stalking. She was asking me to vouch for him. Thing is, I was with this man for 6 years, and to this day, I thank the gods I was able to escape that mess. He wasn't physically abusive, not in the typical sense, unless you count the coercive sex, which happened more often than I like to admit. But emotionally, he trampled me. He would argue with everything I said, every thought, every idea, even my feelings. He'd find a way to logically dismantle and invalidate them. He convinced me that I had no real friends, pulled me away from my family, and manipulated everyone around him, including his parents, who just thought he was brilliant. He refused to do any housework because he believed chores were demeaning. Our home would stay filthy for days on end. Meanwhile, I was finishing law school, working an internship, sleeping less than 6 hours a night, and he was unemployed with a degree already completed, just playing video games all day. He was rude to waiters and pretty much anyone in customer service. He spoke loudly, quickly, and at such length that no one else could even get a sentence in. He sucked the air out of every room. When I got really sick once, sweating, vomiting, flu-ridden, I asked him for help. He said he couldn't do anything. I had to call my mom, who brought me soup and meds and sat with me. He once told me if I left him, he'd kill himself. Multiple times he said sex wasn't about connection or pleasure, but about power. He knew how important intimacy was to me, so he'd withhold it as a form of punishment. He broke me, and while I've done a lot of healing, I'm still patching myself up. Not long ago, he messaged me saying he'd broken up with his girlfriend and couldn't believe we weren't in contact anymore. He told me he was going to the gym, that he'd tested high on testosterone, and dropped some bizarre lines about how religious women were worse than feminists because at least feminists are sincere. That was over WhatsApp. I blocked him. Then he messaged me on Instagram. Blocked. Then a text. Blocked again. He even sent pictures and voice notes. I didn't open a single one. I don't want to know. So when his mom called me asking me to help him to vouch for his character, I told her I was sorry. I sympathized with her as a mother, but I couldn't lie. I couldn't say something I didn't believe to be true. And yeah, I got angry. I ended up telling her a few hard truths about her son. She's blocked now, along with the rest of his family and any mutuals from his world. And once again, I thank the gods I got out. I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. My ex left me for another guy, got pregnant, and now wants me back. About a year ago, my girlfriend of 2 years left me, seemingly out of nowhere. At the time, I was blindsided. A few weeks later, I saw she was already dating someone new. I don't think she cheated, but it was pretty obvious she developed feelings for this guy before she ended things with me. Honestly, he's more attractive, has a better job, basically checks more of the surface-level boxes than I do. I'm just a fairly average-looking guy who works in the back of a shop fixing computers. So yeah, it stung. I unfollowed her on everything and did my best to move on. And I did, until just a few days ago when she messaged me out of the blue asking if we could talk. I told her I had no interest in meeting up, but if she wanted to say something, she could text. So she did. She told me that the guy she left me for had become abusive, and when he found out she was pregnant, he gave her an ultimatum: terminate the pregnancy or he'd leave. She left instead and moved back in with her parents. She shared a lot: how his family looked down on her, accused her of being a gold digger, even tried to get her to leave him. Whether it's all true or not, I don't know. Then came the part I half expected. She hinted at wanting to get back together. I shut that down immediately. I told her straight up that I wasn't going to be some fallback plan. I'm not interested in playing dad to another man's child or being the safe place she runs to only after her shiny new life fell apart. I told her to lose my number and blocked her. She's tried other ways to reach out, but I just keep blocking and not responding. And here's the thing, this situation. This is supposed to be some kind of twisted revenge fantasy for guys who have been hurt. Like she left me, her life fell apart, she came crawling back and I said no. I won, right? But I don't feel victorious. I just feel sad. Not because I want her back, I really don't, but because this whole thing is just depressing. There's a child in the middle of this now, one who's already entering a tough situation. A father who didn't want them, a mother who made some painful choices, and no real stability in sight. I cried this morning, and I feel dumb for it. I haven't told anyone in person because I don't want the conversation or the pity or the judgment, so I'm just saying it here. It's a hollow kind of closure. I don't feel like I got even. I just feel like I saw behind the curtain and realized that even getting what you think you want doesn't really make anything feel better. I received oral sex from my friend's 77-year-old grandmother when I was 18. He lived with his grandmother since his parents passed away, and I went to go hang out with him. He was not home, and only his grandmother was there. She had been a widow since his grandfather passed away and was home alone. She invited me in for iced tea. She was one of those older women who was still very attractive for her age. She was flirty with me, and I got an erection that was very noticeable. She pointed it out and teased me about it. I was really embarrassed, and she said it was okay and that she was genuinely flattered she could still make young men react that way. She told me she would take care of it. She reached into my pants, knelt down, and gave me what is, to this day, the best oral sex I have experienced in my entire life. Being an 18-year-old virgin, I climaxed very quickly, but she did not mind and took care of everything. Then she placed it back in my shorts and zipped me up while I laid there catching my breath. Then she kissed me on the cheek and told me I should get going since my friend would be home soon, but that I should come by for tea with her again. Unfortunately, she had a very bad stroke and passed away about a month after that. I never told my friend about what happened, and over 10 years later, I will never forget it. I'm paying to be thin, and I want to do this forever. I'm taking Mounjaro on a private prescription in the United Kingdom. At my current dose, it's costing me £150 a month. My weight has fluctuated since my early teens. At one point, I was so drastically underweight that my menstrual cycle stopped. At another, at my heaviest, I was over 200 pounds and obese. My wardrobe is bursting with clothes that range from a size 8 to a size 16, which I can't throw out because they're in constant rotation. I've seen every weight on a wide spectrum. I've experienced every comment about my weight from friends, family, and strangers that you can think of. I've felt every emotion from elation and pride to overwhelming shame and thoughts of self-harm. I've tried every diet. I've done the calorie counting and rigorous exercise programs. I've tried self-care and battled with self-doubt. I've gotten results and lost them repeatedly. I've done everything and nothing at all, and thanks to Mounjaro at age 31, I am finally done with all of it. I cannot express enough how much of a miracle this medication has been for me. It's like injecting a mind-control drug. I have diagnosed autism and likely undiagnosed attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and the stability this has brought to my mental health, which is directly tied to my weight, is actually hard to believe even after 6 months. I feel balanced. I don't think about food. I don't think about my weight. I eat healthy without trying. I exercise because I want to when I want to, and I enjoy it. My anxiety was overwhelming before I started, and now it's manageable. For the first time in my life, I feel normal. It's astonishing. I've been at my goal weight for a while now, so my husband asked me when I'm coming off Mounjaro, and he was shocked when I told him I'm planning on taking it indefinitely. I don't care if it's expensive or what future health issues might arise. These are new treatments with unknown factors, but even if I found out down the road that this medication had harmed me somehow, I wouldn't care. It would still be worth it. We were undecided about having children, but not being able to stay on the prescription while pregnant is a major reason why I'm now heavily leaning towards not having any. The word is it's less effective if you stop and restart. I have autism and work is burning me out. I was thinking about reducing my hours or switching to a less stressful job, but honestly now I can't afford to. Even that is worth it. I have no significant side effects, except I can't really drink alcohol anymore without regretting it, and certain fast foods are off the table. I'm okay with that. My best friend has similar struggles with weight and was surprised when I said I'm not coming off it. We've been joking for years about how amazing it would be to pay a subscription to stay thin without trying, or have a pill that fixes all our issues with food, and I honestly feel like that's what I've been given. For 150 pounds a month, I would give up everything else to keep paying for this. I eat what I want now and my appetite regulates itself. I don't deny myself because I don't need food the way I did before, the way an addict does. I don't want, need, or crave. I'm just fine. I enjoy fruits and vegetables and they've become my default choice. Junk food holds no compulsive appeal. I happily share my food or throw away what I can't finish, and the rest takes care of itself. What could coming off this medication possibly achieve, except returning to my awful old normal that I am so happy to have escaped from? This comes with a heavy dose of judgment from people who think it's the easy way out. Everybody's experience is different. For me, it's been blissful, but I don't understand why it should have to be hard. If I were working hard for these results, what difference would that make to anyone? Why should anyone else care? I haven't fully expressed this to anyone. I don't think they would understand. I tried to discuss it with my husband, but he replied, long-term medication isn't really a solution the way going to the gym is. Yeah, okay, great. Except I've done that already, and it wasn't the solution everyone kept promising it would be. It was just extremely difficult in a different way until I collapsed again. He said I didn't need to justify myself to him, so I didn't. But I wanted to confess the truth of it all somewhere. Yes, I will take the easy way out. Life is hard enough. If I'm a failure, okay, I'm done pretending not to be. My brother left his girlfriend for a sexta. He's cooked. So my younger brother, 21, had a beautiful girlfriend, 21 of 3 years. They were together through all of university and were seriously in love. They planned a whole future together, family, marriage, children, etc. She was a super sweet, caring, loyal girl, a rare gem today, which I constantly reminded him of. So we regularly call on the phone, and after all that time, they were still deeply in love. He then goes to Mexico for a retreat. While in Mexico, he meets a young girl and discusses with me about getting together with her. I said, of course, don't. And he did. He only kissed her while drunk and then, 2 days later, called me and said he touched a 55-year-old woman inappropriately and prematurely ejaculated in his hand on the beach and ran away, leaving her there. I'm, of course, blown away. He then, for the next 6 weeks, is constantly telling me how he wants to break up with his girlfriend, how he doesn't love her anymore, how he can do better, travel, etc. He started seriously neglecting her, not responding, not caring about her, pulling away. He even stopped being intimate with her and would sneak off in the middle of the night to watch explicit content by himself and sneak back into bed. I kept telling him to get his act together because he is throwing away his entire future with a beautiful girl and the future mother of his children. He, of course, didn't listen and just neglected her further while insisting that she was so obsessed with him that she would never leave. I told him she would leave repeatedly, and he stuck by this belief. He then kept insisting on his mission, which was to maximize dopamine by getting a realistic toy, a bunch of mushrooms, and a Quest 3 VR headset, and watch explicit content all day to maximize dopamine. Of course, I told him for weeks not to do it, but he would actually aggressively shut me down if I told him not to and end the call and not speak to me if I brought up how it was a bad idea. A week or so goes by and his mission was ready. He had the new VR, his mushrooms, and his new toy, which he actually named Martha. I still told him not to, but he did anyway. So next, he takes the mushrooms, and a couple of hours in, just when he is about to start, she calls him. Like an idiot, he answers, and they speak for an hour while she is crying, saying something is off. She gets it out of him where he says he doesn't love her anymore and maybe they should break up. She then spends the whole night desperately crying alone in a fit of tears while my brother has his VR mission and enjoys himself. The next day, he tells me they spoke and didn't officially break up, and he kept reinforcing that she would never leave him no matter what. I told him he was wrong. A few days later, she officially breaks up with him. He then calls me, absolutely crying, bawling his eyes out in complete disbelief. I, of course, am absolutely speechless. He goes crazy, desperately calling and texting her, even her mother and sister, begging. It gets so bad to the point she has to block him. He even suggested sending letters to her house and making PowerPoint presentations to explain things. For weeks, he is depressed, crying his eyes out, constantly saying he has a feeling she is coming back to him, that she would never leave him. It's been 6 weeks and he is still obsessed, just not crying as much. It's so hard for me because I am constantly trying to help him get his life together, but it feels impossible to help when he acts like this. He is completely lost. After 21 years and 2 kids, she decided to have an affair with my now former best friend. He and I served together in Afghanistan, and he started grooming me during our deployment. He was going through a divorce and blamed his ex-wife for cheating on him. Turns out, he was caught sleeping with 2 other friends' wives and was sent to Afghanistan to get him away so those families could heal. When we returned home, I left the military and began working for an airline. When he retired, I even helped him get an airline job, though not at my company since he failed the interview. The interviewer said he showed psychopathic traits and even turned the interview around on them. He later visited for work, and I was the one taking him out to dinner. Eventually, my ex-wife and kids wanted to meet him since we talked all the time. He charmed everyone, manipulative and deceptive as always. Soon after, he asked if he could visit outside of work, and I invited him to stay with us. That turned into a monthly routine. I thought it was great spending time with my war buddy, but he had other motives. After a few visits, he asked to rent our guest suite while he looked for a place to live. I welcomed him without hesitation. As soon as he moved in, I barely saw him anymore. I'd get my airline schedule and share it with my wife, who would then send it to him. His airline bid for schedules after mine, so he made sure to be at my house when I was gone and gone when I was home. This went on for 6 months. He never paid rent and used that time to gain full access to my home and family. In hindsight, I see how naive I was. I let a divorced man live in my house around my family while I was away. My empathy got the best of me. He was a manipulative sociopath, and I lacked boundaries with both him and my wife. Things started feeling off around my birthday. She was dressing up more, doing her hair and nails, and suddenly drinking coffee with him, something she had never done before. On my 40th birthday, she didn't even say happy birthday. We were still intimate, more than ever actually, but not even a birthday wish. We had a Ring camera in the living room for the dog when we traveled. I hadn't checked it while on the road, but I should have. They both knew it was there. 2 days after my birthday, the camera went off in the middle of the night. She was running downstairs from the guest suite in nothing but her birthday suit. I rewound the video and saw weeks worth of footage, everything. They were intimate in my living room, making out and groping in front of my kids while I was working. It was brutal. I kicked him out and took my wife to intensive marriage counseling. She lied nonstop, blamed me, said I wasn't attentive, that I was a bad father, that I didn't speak her love language, etc. I was gaslit so hard my head spun. I lost 40 pounds in 2 months and was emotionally wrecked. 3 therapy sessions a week didn't help. She kept sneaking out to see him. Even when I showed proof, she denied everything. At our last session, I presented evidence of a recent encounter just 2 days prior. She had sworn there had been no contact for a month. The therapist was stunned. That was my breaking point. I initiated the divorce. Fast forward 6 years. She now teaches at my kids' high school and still tries to manipulate them. They see through her lies but still want a mom. They're 15 and 17 and they know the truth. She's still with the guy. She's told them 5 different stories about how they started dating after the divorce. I corrected them, and then they found handwritten love letters at her house that confirmed the affair. I can't make this up. She's lost all her old friends. Some new acquaintances at work don't know her past, but everyone else has cut her off after seeing the texts, emails, and videos. She spends every free moment with him, even though mutual friends say he's still cheating on her. She's just one of many for him. The divorce settlement. I agreed to a $1 million settlement over 11 years, mostly in cash with $125K in an IRA. I kept the rest, retirement, home, brokerage accounts. I paid half up front and the rest monthly with a special clause. If she cohabitates, alimony ends, not standard in our state, but I got it added. So now, 6 years later, they're still not engaged or living together. He tells her she has to keep her house, and since the kids can't stand him, he's free to see other women while she has the kids half the month. In 5 years, when alimony ends, will he finally move her in? Doubt it. I'm honestly starting to enjoy watching this play out. She's burned through the $480K I gave her up front. I now pay $3,000 a month in alimony and child support, doubling her schoolteacher salary, but she has expensive taste. Our last year married, she spent $11K a month on credit cards. Now she gets $3K a month. That's $5K in savings each month, $60K/year. Divorce has been a financial win. Since the divorce, my income has quadrupled. My net worth has too, and she gets none of it. That was written into the agreement. I'm on track to retire early if I want to. She, meanwhile, just started working at 43 and has no savings beyond that IRA. She'll be working a long time unless someone else foots the bill. I took the divorce hard. My weight fluctuated like crazy. But this past year I lost 40 pounds and finally put my health first. It's been incredible. And the best part, I've been with the most amazing partner for the past 2.5 years. She was also married to an abusive narcissist, physically, sexually, emotionally. We've helped each other heal and grow. We truly get each other. Our relationship is loving and full of joy. It made all those years of abuse worth it because it taught me what I truly want and what I'll never tolerate again. My kids see it too. We now have 2 dogs and there's so much love, empathy, time, and joy in our home. Everyone is thriving. I never thought it would be possible. My ex has gained a lot of weight and is nearly unrecognizable. At some point, I think her affair partner will finally ditch her and she'll be left with nothing. She's living paycheck to paycheck on $6K a month and has had to give up her luxury habits. Meanwhile, my kids and partner travel the world and live their best life, free of drama and manipulation. I was the one who fought to save our family while she continually disrespected it. If you're in that position, leave. You should never be someone's option. If they don't prioritize you above everyone, they're not your person. Healing and love are out there, but you have to walk away from your narcissistic cheater first. My friend group is now filled with people who have gone through cheating and narcissistic co-parenting. We support each other. There is strength in numbers, and healing does happen. I've been in therapy for 6 years and learned so much. If you're struggling, invest in therapy or a support group. Healing from trauma takes time. often half the length of the relationship. I'm just over halfway there, and it's getting better every day. As for the cheating exes, let them go. Not your circus, not your monkey. They were never worthy of our love or time. Someone else is out there, waiting to love you the way you deserve to be loved. You just have to be ready. Your kids want to see you happy. You deserve to be happy. Kick them out of your head. They're not worth the mental space.